Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Econ Vision by your teaching buddy. I am back with another video for class 12 macroeconomics, the determination of income and employment. Now in the last video we discussed about basically the national income, the calculation of national income, and now we are going to study about the national income, how it is determined and how it is related to an employment part, right? So in this there are different components. In some books it can be given as in short run equilibrium also. So you can see for that if it is given as a short run equilibrium point, right? So today I'm going to discuss about its components and the component related to the aggregate demand. Now short run equilibrium, short run equilibrium can exist when aggregate demand is equals to aggregate supply. Aggregate supply is basically termed as whatever we are supplying to the market, and aggregate demand is whatever we are demanding in a particular financial year, that is from suppose 1st of April to 31st of March. Okay, so we are going to discuss about its component, and briefly if I tell you the components of AD, which is also termed as Y, is equals to C plus I plus G in a closed economy. Here I am not talking about an open economy, just for a closed economy, right? So before starting it with the component part, there are two things, that is ex post and ex ante. Ex post and ex ante, right? Ex ante is the value which you desired to be. Ex ante is pre-decided that what it is going to be. Like if I say that my sales for 2026 will be suppose 3000 units for anything. Now this is my ex ante thing. I am desiring this to be. If when I talk about the ex post part is something which is the actual value, actually what you are going to get. Like suppose after 2000 end of 2026 I was only able to sell 2567 units, and my aim was to sell near about 3000 units. So the actual value which I have got is my ex post value, and ex ante value is something which you desire to be, and ex post value is something which is the actual value it is given to, right? You can say this as in planned and unplanned also, that we will discuss more later. Okay, for the time being, in simplest word we can say ex ante is depicted what has been planned, and ex post is depicting what has actually happened, right? Ex ante and ex post. Why I am focusing upon these two words, the reason being is they play a very important role in short run economy. Whenever you are trying to find out the short run equilibrium, the both the words are going to create a lot of issue to you also, and they are really important issue in being it might be the value which is given to you is an ex post value, and you have been asked to find out the ex ante value. So you will be confused in that what value do you have to find out, and how you're going to calculate it, what is an ex ante value or what it has an ex post value. That's why I am focusing so much. So just for a recap, ex ante is what actually you are desiring to, or what actually you want to, or you have planned something, and ex post is the desired value or the actual value. As in my factory outlet example, for 2026 in end I wanted to have 3000 sale, but I only got 2565 sales, so it isn't my actual value. So it is termed as my ex post sales, and this is considered to be as an ex ante sales, right? If it is clear with you, let's move forward with it. Our first element or first component of AD is C, that is consumption, and it is the most important determinant of AD, because the maximum value of AD, that is aggregate demand, comes from the household sector, and household sector is considered to be as an consumption part. Now, we have to frame a consumption function, and this function tells you is that how our particular consumption pattern depends upon our income, and how the values get changed with the change in the income portion, right? So let's start. As according to the Keynes, your consumption function completely says is C bar plus small c by y. If I write it with the different colors so that you can understand it more easily, is like this, because there are a lot of c into it, so you might get confused with it. Okay, c, and now with the red part y. Okay, now I'll be explaining these three components which is given into it with the detailed explanation. I am teaching with NCRT, so if you are having any problem with the another edition also, you can come to me and ask about it in the comment section if you still have any problem, right? This C stands for the complete consumption function. I can write this C as this format also, which stands with the function part. If I talk about this C, which is having a bar over it, it is known as autonomous consumption. Now what does autonomous consumption means, because we have come through a very first time about this word autonomous consumption. Autonomous consumption is that consumption which is happening when your income is zero, right? I can tell you by applying it in a particular values. Like if your income is zero, then you are going to plot zero here, the particular value, anything multiplied with zero will be zero, so this complete value will be termed as in zero, so you are left with only autonomous consumption, right? This autonomous consumptions basically tells you the value of a consumptions when your income is termed as in zero, right? You can see it here also. Autonomous consumption denotes this C bar and shows the consumption which is independent of an income. It hardly depends upon the income. Whatever the income is, this value is going to remain the same. Like suppose I have framed the question like 10 plus cy. Now, whatever the value of this particular factor is in consumption function, this 10 is going to remain constant. It is not affected by the change in income even with the single unit. Right, so this particular 10 is constant and independent in change with respect to income. This is not going to change if your income is also changed, right? So now this thing is, if consumption take place even when income is zero, it tells you this is that consumption which takes place when your income is zero. That's why it is known as an autonomous consumption, which is autonomous, it is not changing with respect to any of the thing, right? Now let's come to the small c part now. Now, this small c in the Keynes consumption function is termed to be MPC. Now, what this MPC means is, MPC is the marginal propensity to consume. The full form for MPC is marginal propensity to consume. It tells you or it explains you the rate of change in consumption as your income changes. So this particular factor is going to tell you what with respect to your income, where income is independent, if your income is changing, then what effect our total consumption function is going to have. Whenever you are finding the change into it, that will show you the MPC value, or you can write in the mathematical format derivative of c with respect to derivative of y. This derivative y tells you whenever your income is changing by 1 unit, how much your consumption level is going to change. That is known as MPC value. Now, this MPC value takes place between 0 to 1. Now, this small c takes place between 0 to 1. Now, most of you will be getting confused why I have put equal sign here but not here. So, I will reply to that. Now, for time being, I am writing this C as an MPC only to show the values like MPC is less than 0 and greater than equals to 1. Now, why I am writing so is because it is never happening that you are having an increase or decrease in income and your consumption is not changing. You are not making any change. When your MPC value is 0, that means you are having some or the other change in your income, but you are not changing your consumption pattern. When you're going to get the MPC value as 0, when your change in income is there, but your value for the consumption is not changing, that particular value will remain 0. So this means that your income is changing but consumption is not changing. So it will never happen that your income is changing but your consumption level is not changing. Why I have written it as in one value? Because it may happen your MPC value is equals to 1, and it will be a case where your change in consumption and change in income are equal. Suppose you are having a 10 unit change in income. 10 unit change in income basically means first your income was 100, then your income was 200. So the change in income is 100. How I have calculated the change here is change I have calculated through y2 minus y1. So there is a change of 100 rupees or 100 unit in the y, and similarly the change in c is also for 100. So now the value for change in c by change in y will be 100 divided by 100, that is equals to 1. So your MPC value can be equals to 1, it can be less than 1, but it cannot be equals to 0, because whenever you are going to have any change in income, your consumption level is automatically going to change. Okay, so let me create a value for you, like a function for you, that is c is equals to, suppose, 100 plus 0.8y, as it is given here in the book. Also you can see as a function part, like consumption is equals to 100 plus 0.8y. Now what does these values depict to you? What is their value? You need to compare it with an value which we have studied, just function which we have studied, that is c equals to autonomous consumption plus c and y. So for here, the c stands for the consumption function, c bar here is 100, that is autonomous consumption is 100, and your MPC value is 0.8. Now what does this 0.8 depict to you? 0.8 says is whenever you are going to have one unit change in your income, your consumption level is going to change by 80 percentage. Change in the consumption will be 80%. Now let me create one numerical for you and then I'll explain the things with you, right? For the timing, I'm just rubbing these things. Just a second. Okay, let's start. Suppose I have created one consumption function for you, that is c is equals to 100 plus 0.8y, right? Now you have a change of 100 units. Change of y is 100 units. Earlier your value, how you're going to get calculate the consumption here is 100 plus 0.8 into 100. Whenever you are going to calculate it, this 10 will be cancelled and it will be multiplied with 8. So 100 plus 80, that will be consumption level is equals to 180, right? So this is the way which is telling you that whenever you are going to have the change of one unit in your income, your consumption level is going to change by 80 percentage. And if this value is suppose 0.7, that means if you are having a change of one unit in your income, your consumption level is going to change by 70%, right? I hope it's clear to you. Now let's start with some saving parts also. Saving is something, whenever you are having an income, there are two motives with that income is either you consume it or you save it. The both the things is the same thing. Whenever you are having an income, suppose if your budget is of 10,000 and you have adopted the budget for 7,000 to be consumed, so what you are going to do for the rest of the 3,000? What 3,000 will be saved. So the use of a income is for an household sector is just only two things, that is consumption and savings. So if you have to find savings, that will be the y minus c. Whatever you in the income part, whatever you have consumed, you are going to subtract it and you are going to get the saving part. Right, I hope it's clear to you what is MPC and how we are able to calculate the MPC values. Just for a recap, MPC is equals to change in y by change in c by change in y. It's important because you are going to have a lot of formulas related to it in this particularly consecutive two chapters. So if you have any doubt in the consumption function, do comment it down and tell me about it. Okay, thank you so much for watching the video.